Hi, I'm Janelle Fletcher. I'm a speaker and I'm a confidence coach. I live down in New Zealand, and my website is www.janellefletcher, Janelle Fletcher.com, or lovemybody.loveme.org. I wonder if you're a curve or a straight line, and you go, what the hang's that about? I look at nature and I just look that the nature is very much a curve, not a straight line. We have a night and day for a reason. We have the inflow and the outflow, the ebb and flow of the tide. We have seasons. We have the winter where we're cool and we're cold and where it's dark and we're reflective, and then we have the summer where we're out there doing our stuff. We have our nature and our cycles for a reason, but many of us live life as though it's a straight line, as though it should be the same all the time. I want you to consider loving your curves and loving the cycles of nature and loving the ebb and flow of it, and loving the opportunity that gives us to feel really balanced and to really live life well and to enjoy life well, because we've rested enough and repaired enough and recuperated enough in our darker, quieter moments and reflective moments to then be able to go out and be in the world and do great things as well. So be a curve, not a straight line. I'm just wondering how many women out there and how many of you watching this actually love your menstrual cycle, actually love your period. And I've asked this at many talks that I've given, and everyone's going, no. In fact, I get people to put up their hand and put it halfway if they only feel half happy about it. But I love my period. I love menstruation. And some of you, like many of my talks, will think you are crazy. But I do love it. I've learned to respect that. My periods offer me a chance, and certainly that time leading up to my period gives me a chance to be really emotional, because emotions are fabulous. The ebb and flow of emotions, particularly when I get to my period time, that's when those emotions surface even more. There's two phases to our menstrual cycle. There's the estrogen based phase right at the start that leads into the first phase or the first half of our cycle. The estrogen phase is very the out there and the action orientated phase of our cycle. It's when we're feeling a bit more social. We go out and meet people, we create projects, we get busy. It's very outward focused. It's very driven. I call it driving and striving. And it's very about proving stuff, versus the other side, the progesterone-based side, or more dominant side, or the second part of our cycle, is more about the approving versus approving. It's more about the resting and repairing and recuperating than the driving and striving. It's more about the inward focus and the reflection focus rather than the very action focus of the first part of our cycle. So, I encourage you to go with the ebb and flow. Stop resisting that and really love that the emotions that come up, particularly in our inward and reflective time, really are signals, are really good signposts as to what we can address in our life. When we resist that stuff, when we bottle it down, when we keep the emotions in, what happens? It's got to have an escape valve somewhere. And I gave a talk the other week and I was describing, when we have a Coke bottle, for example, we have the lid on and we shake up the Coke bottle, we have something in our life that shakes us up. And instead of venting it in some way, voicing what we need or desire or communicating in some way or expressing in some way in our bodies, that emotion or what's going on, if we bottle that up and keep the lid on, and then another shake-up comes along and we do the same, we keep the lid on. Well, at some stage the lid's got to go, the Coke's got to go, it either spews all over you or it spews all over somebody else. Those emotions and those memories and those times and those things that happen pre-period are really our signposts for what to address in our life. And if we resist that, we either explode or we get it the next month and even harsher PMT signals. I just love the cycle and encourage you. For those of you on contraception, you might want to consider what kind of contraception you're on. I myself love natural fertility because that allows me to be free in my body and to experience the ups and downs, whereas the contraceptive pill, for example, doesn't allow us. It doesn't give us those ups and downs. For many of you think that's great because it keeps you on even kilter. But what I believe is that we're not here to be straight lines. The boys are straight lines. They tend to do life in a straighter way, in more ways than one. But we need our curves. To finish with, I just want you to consider, what is your favourite curve on your body? That's an interesting question, huh? My favourite curve, if I'm going to share something quite personal with you, is this part here. I love this bone in here, and do embrace my curves as a woman. And the media tells us we have to be very angular, we have to be very straight lined as women. And you look at all the pictures in there, people very angular in the magazines and so on. So, and even in the fashion shows, yeah. So I invite you to love your curves, to embrace your curves, to enjoy being a woman, to feel okay that you're shapely and you're blossoming and that you're just gorgeous the way you are. Bye for now.